What if eating just one meal a day could completely change how your body functions, from the inside out? Not in a crash diet way, not in a trend you try for a week and forget, but in a way that taps into systems your body has had for thousands of years, systems most people never activate. Because here's the truth. Your body was never designed to be in a constant state of eating. And when you stop eating for long enough, something very different starts to happen. Today, we are going to break it down, hour by hour, system by system. What actually happens when you eat once a day? And some of it might completely change how you think about food. Let's start right after your last meal. The moment you finish eating, your body shifts into what is called the absorptive state. This is the fed phase. Insulin rises. Blood sugar increases. Your digestive system gets to work breaking down everything you just consumed: proteins, fats, carbohydrates. Right now, your body has energy available everywhere, so it uses glucose as its primary fuel. And here is something most people don't realize. During this phase, your body is not focused on burning fat. It is focused on using what is available and storing the excess. This phase typically lasts around 2 to 4 hours. You are in build mode, storage mode, not burn mode, but then things begin to shift. Around 4 to 6 hours after eating, your body enters the post-absorptive state. Insulin levels begin to fall. Another hormone, glucagon, starts to rise, and its job is the opposite of insulin. Instead of storing energy, it releases it. Your liver begins breaking down glycogen, stored glucose, and releasing it back into your bloodstream to keep everything stable. You are no longer running on your last meal. You are now running on reserves. Then somewhere between 8 and 12 hours, a major transition begins. Your glycogen stores start running low, and your body needs a new fuel source. So it switches. This is what researchers often call the metabolic switch. Instead of relying primarily on glucose, your body begins increasing its use of stored fat. Fatty acids are released. Ketone bodies begin to form. And your brain, your muscles, your organs start adapting to this new fuel. Now, this shift is not instant, and it is not extreme, but it is significant. Because metabolic flexibility, the ability to switch between fuel sources efficiently, is strongly associated with better long-term health markers. Lower insulin resistance, more stable energy, better regulation overall. Now we move deeper into the fast. Around 16 to 18 hours without food, your body enters one of its most interesting states. This is where a process called autophagy becomes more active. Autophagy is your body's internal recycling system. Damaged cells, dysfunctional proteins, cellular waste. Your body begins identifying and breaking them down. Reusing what it can. Clearing out what it cannot. Think of it like maintenance that only happens when the system is not constantly busy processing new input. And this process is not theoretical. Research into autophagy, including work recognized with a Nobel Prize in 2016, has shown how essential it is for cellular health and long-term function. Now, it is important to be clear. Fasting does not turn on a magic switch instantly. But longer periods without food appear to give your body more opportunity to engage in this kind of repair. At the same time, your hormones are shifting. Growth hormone levels begin to rise during extended fasting periods. This hormone plays a role in fat metabolism, tissue repair, and muscle preservation, which challenges an old assumption that going long periods without food automatically leads to muscle loss. Your body is not that inefficient. When fat is available, it prefers to use that. Muscle is valuable. Your body tries to preserve it. Now let's talk about your gut, because this is often overlooked. When you eat constantly throughout the day, your digestive system is always active. But when you stop eating for long enough, something called the migrating motor complex becomes more active. This is essentially a cleaning wave. It moves through your digestive tract, clearing out leftover debris, bacteria, and undigested material. But it only works properly when you are not eating. Every time you snack, it resets. So when you eat once a day, your gut gets a long, uninterrupted window to do this kind of internal housekeeping. And over time, that may play a role in digestive health and microbial balance. Now let's address one of the biggest concerns, your brain. A lot of people assume that not eating all day will destroy your focus, and at first, it might. When you begin fasting, your body is not used to it. You may feel irritable, distracted, low energy. That is real. But for many people, that phase passes. As your body adapts, ketone bodies, especially one called beta-hydroxybutyrate, become a stable fuel source for the brain. And some people report something unexpected. More consistent energy, sharper focus, fewer crashes throughout the day. Now this is not universal, but it highlights something important. Hunger and energy are not as simple as eat equals focus. Your body can adapt. There is also the question of stress. Fasting can increase cortisol in the short term, but that does not automatically mean something is wrong. Cortisol helps mobilize energy. It is part of your body's normal response. The problem comes when stress is already high, from poor sleep, lifestyle, or chronic pressure, and fasting is layered on top. Context matters. Your body does not operate in isolation. Now let's talk about something measurable: cardiovascular health. Some studies on time-restricted eating and extended fasting have shown improvements in markers like blood pressure, triglycerides, and insulin sensitivity. There is also evidence suggesting reductions in inflammation markers in certain cases. But again, this is not universal. Results depend heavily on the individual and on what they eat. Which brings us to the most practical point of all, that one meal matters. A lot. If that single meal is built on highly processed food, low protein, and excess sugar, you are not giving your body what it needs, and you will feel it. But if that meal includes whole foods, adequate protein, healthy fats, and nutrient-dense carbohydrates, then your body has something to actually work with. Fasting is only one side of the equation. Nutrition is the other. And finally, this approach is not for everyone. People with a history of eating disorders, those who are pregnant or breastfeeding, or individuals with certain medical conditions should not experiment with this without professional guidance. This is not a universal solution, but for some people, when done thoughtfully, it can align surprisingly well with how the body already works. So let's bring it all together. When you eat once a day, your body moves through a sequence most people rarely experience. You start in storage mode. You shift into using reserves. You transition into fat metabolism. You open the door to cellular repair. Your hormones adjust, your digestive system resets, and your brain may adapt to a completely different fuel source. All of this from simply changing when you eat, not just what you eat. And maybe that is the biggest shift in perspective. Your body is not passive. It is constantly adapting, constantly responding, constantly optimizing based on your environment, including your eating patterns. So the question is not just, what should I eat, but also, when should I eat? Because the timing might be just as powerful as the food itself. If you tried this, could you go a full day on one meal? And more importantly, how do you think your body would respond?